down. It went down on my phone, went down on my iPad. Hopefully I can pull everybody back. That's just weird. Welcome to the new world of communication where the internet comes and goes. Hold on a second. On another. Sorry, I'm on another. Okay, I'm trying to pull everybody back on, letting them know. I was just talking about synchronicities, and don't you love it? Synchronicities and the internet goes out. So what does that talk about? The synchronicity. I found somebody back. Thank you. This is just so strange. My phone said I had no connection. My iPad said I had no connection. However, you know, that's what they've been talking about, that different parts of our communication lines would go down, including the internet, including our phones. It could go over to the emergency broadcast system, all those good things. So the way I look at it when it comes to communication anymore, we've got to just rock and roll. We've got to be flexible. And you kind of go, yeah, hi, Yelena. You know what? I need your phone number, girlfriend, because maybe I do. I should look it up. I don't know. So I can text you on such times like this. I was able to text Sam really quickly, and then Sheila and Chrissy, right, just to let you know. So I'm hoping a few others can see this. I'm going to, Sheila, you're awesome. Are you? I don't know if you're back. Good, trying to find you. Thank you. Sorry, I'm making this at the beginning look really strange and weird by me trying to. Tina, you made it. Good, that's great, because again, internet went sideways, and I'm thinking, no, I don't want this to happen because I got all this really cool stuff. And what's really cool, we were just talking about when everything went sideways, is synchronicity, and the fact that I was talking about Jamestown revival because of the fact that they have got fabulous harmonies, and we're talking about harmonies right now. And Sam, who is my twin brother, thank you, Chrissy, this is good. He was talking about the synchronicity he has about Jamestown and his family. I mean, I love how this works. Synchronicities happen all the time, and they happen between us, and they happen with the universe, and the more we tap into this, it's fantastic. So what I was talking about before everything went south is I woke up this morning having this strange dream about baseball. Well, I played softball back in junior high, grade school, junior high, and I actually liked it. I was first baseman. That was really good. I enjoyed it. I could hit a ball, and it was fun. Once I got into high school, I didn't play because I'm not that big, and there were big women in the baseball thing, so I'm really not connected to it. I was in Portland. We had seats. My husband had seats to the Timbers and the Timber soccer and baseball, but baseball for me was, like my husband so aptly said, like watching paint dry. Sorry to the baseball players. So having a dream about baseball was really kind of awkward, very strange. I'm going, okay, what does this mean? What's synchronicity? And then a friend of mine sent me a video, the first thing this morning, and I've got to, let me find a picture of it because it's absolutely hysterical. Let's see. I don't know if Sam, if I send it to you, if I can pull it up. Okay, I'm going to show you what it looks like. Can you see this? I don't know how bright that is. That's what I started with, and it's, I wonder if I can play it. This is so funny. Okay, this is what I get. Can you see it? It was funny, right? That's how I started my morning off. Okay, hold on a second. The chat's disabled? How weird. Okay, let me see if I can step that in. Live chat. Isn't that good? Okay. Let's see if that makes a difference. Back. Good. So that's when you start paying attention to the synchronicities, then it's fun. You know you're on track. So what other things did I have in terms of, I had some other things. All this internet stuff's driving me crazy. Oh, I know what it was. Is that I was having a conversation yesterday with a friend of mine about Dr. Michael Sala. He's Australian, and he has his PhD in communication. What would it, it's communication between nations so that everybody's learning how to speak on the same language. I know there's some term for it. Well, he moved that into interdimensional species communication. And I was talking to a friend of mine about this because I've been into this for a long, long time. This is all new to her. Well, then shortly thereafter, what shows up but a Robert David Steele video with him interviewing Dr. Michael Sala, again, Australian who's moved to Hawaii. And I'm going, you can't make this stuff up. And for those of you who, talk to me, we've been talking about the 80-20 rule. Right now I feel like 80% of the population overall is on board with what I would say is in terms of the inequities that are going on. Maybe they're not completely aware of the election fraud. Maybe they don't know about that as much. However, they do or are aware that things are wrong. They're probably not down the rabbit hole like I am. However, the 80-20 rule. I was listening to a video earlier this morning. Sasha Stone, who I adore, I would marry him tomorrow, he said 80-20, like I've been saying that for a long time. So he feels the same kind of energy that I do. Again, synchronicities of validation. So my invitation to you is to really tap into your own synchronicities. Where are your personal alignments coming into place? And I've talked about this a zillion times. The more you're in your alignment, in your light space, then the more it will show up. Like today, I don't know what it was. I heard something, read something, and it's like, one of those irritating kind of moments. Well, what that does is kind of throws you out of alignment. So it's like, okay, Candia, bring it right back into that alignment, and then everything is bliss, unicorns, and honeydew melon, right? It just changes things when you're in alignment. Now, this is really cool. I've got to find my notes on this. This is really kind of fun. I was doing some research today. My degree way back when, of course that was just a decade ago, was in art and art history. And back in the day I used to do a lot of art, and so I thought, it'd be kind of fun. My art has been with my words. However, I thought, wouldn't it be kind of fun to get back into, hi Tracy, you made it, back into painting. So I was doing some research. This, again, alignment. I love how this works. Alignment and synchronicities. So I was looking into some products to add into paint. And this is so perfect because they intersect, right? I looked into a gloss and a matte chemical compound to add to paint. The gloss is spectacular, or it's a mirror-like surface. It's a reflection of light, and it deepens values and saturate colors. So imagine this, if we're in our light, in our alignment, and we then tap into, by tapping our pineal gland and say, okay, you're in a situation and maybe somebody is not being so nice. And of course, if you guys know me, it's being an asshole, right? We have people out there like that right now. They're really kind of cranky. So just imagine your light around you, and you just make it a glossy surface, because when you do that in your mind, it becomes even more of a mirror, and it reflects back to them their own behavior, so they can then look at themselves and say, maybe I need to change that, because it's going to come back to them enough times. What's that old story that you repeat until you learn your lesson, and what's the definition of insanity, right? So when you mirror things back to them, eventually at some point in time, they're going to get it. So I love how the art terms work with how I look at energy, right? So imagine your light around you. Again, you're in the middle, and you put gloss up because you have somebody there that needs to be mirrored. So it's just kind of glossy. Now matte, as you know, is just kind of a flat finish. Well, what it does when you have matte in paint, it scatters light. So it literally refracts the light differently off the painting into the space, into your eye. So imagine if you put on the edge of your light sphere a matte finish, because what it does is it makes, I like this, matte can lighten the darkness. Okay, so if you have someone who is sad, who is depressed, who is stuck or lost, if you put a matte up on your light, okay, it can then reflect back to them the light in their darkness, so that they can then become happier, more aligned themselves. And you don't have to do anything. You don't have to say anything. You don't have to heal them. You don't have to give them advice. You don't have to do anything other than just intuitively put your light up into a matte, right? So it's matte. So it's reflecting and refracting the light differently. So that is going from your heart to theirs. And then when you want to deepen their sense of value within themselves, or mirror poor behavior, you put in the gloss, so they can then, so it doesn't come into your space, but then they can learn from that. So I loved how art reflected, again, a synchronicity, how art reflected back to me what I'm thinking about energetically, and expanding on and looking at all the negative garbage. Again, the Truman Show, Wag the Dog, things like that. My son was the one who made me think about Ocean's 11, right? He goes, you're thinking everybody's it's not going to work, and then all of a sudden the heist is pulled off. Not that I believe in heists, mind you, but we've been heisted for a long time. So anyway, now I told you it's going to be several different topics tonight because there are a lot of things that are happening right now. And then I'm going to go into the Arcturian messages because let me tell you, they are really, really amazing. I started this before you guys hopped on, and I was explaining I have talked to all different kinds of things since I was a child, from fairies to rocks to mountains to animals to people. But I'd never really tapped into cultures from another planet. So, I don't know why. Maybe I didn't think I could or wasn't important or whatever. But I did, right? The Arcturians. And so now it's just so easy. I'm like going, wow, okay, I could just write a book from it. It's just so easy. So we're going to talk about that. But before I get into that piece of it, to get to that, I need you to go into history a little bit because I think it's really fascinating. The Arcturians have been like our parents in a way. They came here onto the planet and helped seed our awakening. They help seed our consciousness with love and appreciation and intuition and gentleness and kindness, and they brought that part into our DNA, and in some ways they are like our parents in that way. Others that have helped seed us, maybe not so much, they wanted to keep us as slaves, but the Arcturians are part of that deep richness of who we are within ourselves, which is really great. So going back in time, so through the time portals, they started to help our awakening as humanoids, as the Adam Cadmans, as human Homo sapiens, right? And through those eons, we've been taught these different things from the different ET races. One of those has been the number 12. Okay, the number 12, think about all the things that are the number 12. Because again, this comes from the Arcturians. And the number 12, let's think about it. We have a dozen there, and I had to look this up. Who are the only places besides the United States that still use the imperial system? The number 12, and that's Myanmar and Liberia, which is off the western coast of Africa, and Myanmar is east of India, in south of China. I had to look. I didn't know exactly where it was, so I thought I wanted to see if they were on the grid points on the planet as to why they kept this frequency, and I'll explain to you why. Because we have the baker's dozen, and then in the high priests out of Egypt, they had the breastplate and the crown. These had 12 specific crystals in them and stones of vibration. We have the 12 apostles. We have 12 loaves of bread. We have the 12 signs of astrology. We have 12 face cards in a deck which came from the old tarot decks. And again, those are all divination tools that were given to us. Well, what does that mean? What I have this intuitive hunch on, this is just something that came to me. It's nothing, and you can, if it fits, if it doesn't, that's cool. This is just something I've been playing with, is that the imperial system is on the inch, right? In 12 inches in a foot, 3 feet in a yard, okay? Everybody else went to 10, but this particular sense of measurement goes back onto the cosmic alignment of mathematics. The pyramid is based on what is known as the pyramid inch, and it is basically 1.00106 to our imperial inches. I mean, they're virtually, with that much of a difference, they are the same measurement, which is really quite amazing. And that's why it then was passed down to the Greeks, to the Romans, and the Romans to the Brits then really codified the imperial system. Canada got it, America got it, Australia got it. We are the only ones that kept it. Everybody in America, I don't know how many of you remember this, when they wanted to bring in centimeters. We all go, forget that. We didn't want to learn, and America said no. But to me, it's much more than that. Besides, can you imagine a song that's going, oh, I've got kilometers to go to my love? I mean, miles and miles sounds so much more romantic. But anyway, that's aside. Is that I really feel that this frequency of the 12 is this higher vibration. 12 is also an abundant number because it has 2, 3, well, obviously 1 and 12, but 2, 3, 4, and 6 in it. It's an abundant number to have that many numbers in the number 12. Ironically, if you add all those up, it goes higher than 12, which is also an interesting conundrum about the number, but it is a very powerful unit of measurement, and I feel that has actually helped keep America in this higher vibration, this higher vibration at this point. And this is where we align with, oh, there you go, 432, is this aligns with Atlantean energy because we are in the time-space continuum very much aligned with Atlantis. We were at a pivotal point with Atlantis when it went down under the waves, and we are at that critical juncture once again. However, the difference now is we are on the brink of going under the waves, but it's not going to happen because there are more people in communication around the globe and more people in a higher vibrational state of alignment, more awareness, and that's why it's so important to focus in on the big picture. But I thought about that, the inch, the imperial inch, there is a frequency to it. It's not about, again, it's not about the size. There is an old episode of Stargate back in the day, just so you know, if you guys tap into old Stargate, the first 2 years are basically all truth, just straight up truth. Talk to Dr. Michael Sala again, back to that guy. He talks about it. I've met the man, I've been to some of his lectures, amazing guy, and we talked about the Stargate in his lecture, and he was talking about how much they were true. Anyway, in one of the, episodes of Stargate, Daniel, who is this esoteric, cosmic historian, scientist guy, goes into this room of the ancients and sees all these mathematical symbols that go up on the wall and chemicals, because the elements relate to all planets, to all species, and numbers. So again, I really feel that the inch, the Egyptian inch, the pyramid inch, has a frequency that we need to retain. So I think that's very cool. Again, just one of those musings I've had that I wanted to share. So, okay, now back to the Arcturians, because again, they help seed this information. Now, what's fascinating is, and this is based on my intuition, it's also based on a lot of other information that I have read through the decades on other species and the interweaving of our DNA, is that about 40,000 years ago, when we were spliced and diced again, and it's been proven that the only way that our genetic code looks the way it does is by bioengineering. It's an upgrade of some sort. And what was added about 40,000 years ago was the reptilian mind. It's a little space back here at the base of the spine, and that's the fight or flight aspect of our brain. Okay, well, the good part about the reptilian brain is it kept us alive through the mastodons and the saber-toothed tigers, and even at the last of the dinosaurs, we had the, oh my God, I better run attitude or I'm going to be eaten. If we hadn't had that and we just said, oh, isn't that nice, the human species would not have survived. So there is a positive to this reptilian brain. The challenge, though, is today it is incredibly easy to manipulate. We are manipulated through chemicals, through our food, through the TV, through the newscasting. It's definitely a hypnotic space that we are all kind of programmed into. Social media is another one, but it's where they're able to program us is through this reptilian brain. So if you have moments where you are more fearful or more anxious, okay, think about, what are you running from? What are you anxious because of, right? Is it because it's a life and death situation? What is it that is causing this? And then really actively move out of that space and into your higher mind. Because when you move into that higher mind, you quiet that aspect, and then you're able to see life from a much clearer perspective and are able to respond rather than react to any kind of situation. So again, when it was put in, there is a reason that it worked. However, today it's very, very manipulated. I don't know how many people that you know that you're kind of going, excuse me, how in the hell can you be so brain dead? How can you be so brainwashed? And it's really because this reptilian brain, for whatever reason, within themselves has not advanced enough, or they have allowed the chemicals or their diets or their programming to allow it to almost expand. So if you know people in your life or you yourself are ever triggered, you want to start really shrinking that aspect of it so that we can move into this greater consciousness. So that's important. So back to the Arcturians came here to help us override that aspect. And again, they put their frequencies into us. Now, I know that you guys were with me last week when I talked about the Arcturians and seeing the ship. And I can feel them. And so what I did, and I hope you don't mind, I was going to, and I probably will create a different video and just record it because there's a lot of information, and I was just going to take the highlights. However, there are so many good highlights that I am going to just read it if you're okay with that, because there's information here for everyone that I think is incredibly valuable. Now, honestly, I'll be straight up here. I don't know that much. I mean, you have a lot of different ones that have talked about the different ET races, and I know a little bit about the Arcturians from an analytical point of view. I am learning now from a soul level about them. You can do your own research. I've read nothing that anybody's written. I mean, I have Barbara Marciniak and Barbara Handclough, who downloaded the Pleiadians. Okay, I'm more familiar with that than the Arcturians. So on a certain level, this is new to me. However, it feels like home. I'm just going to tell you right now, it feels like home. Now, if you look at some pictures of Arcturians, again, there are multiple species of ETs. If you look at them, they have a blue cast to their blood and to their skin. And I think that's why a lot of the Egyptian hieroglyphs had the different beings with blue in their skin. They were blue beings, and I think that's because of the Arcturian influence. And I've thought about, I wonder if that's where the concept of blue blood comes in. That, if you're blue blood, you come from the high level elite family. However, ironically, the twist in that is not, the Arcturians are not here as the elites. The elites are the reptilians, and they sure as shit don't have blue blood. So anyway, if you're good with this, I'm going to share this. So I wrote this on the 22nd. Actually, it was the 21st, 22nd, because if you guys know me, I am a night owl, and I'm doing this stuff at 11:30, 12, 1 o'clock at night. So it's kind of how I operate. So that's when it was, 21st, 22nd. And I'm just going to read to you what it was, if you're good with that. Halls of Amenti came into my mind. The Halls of Amenti, if you're not familiar with them, you can look it up. I'm going to be doing this. I'm going to read and interject. And the Halls of Amenti go back to Egyptian times. It's kind of like the Hall of Records. It's the space and place that we can go to when we leave our bodies, where we know all things. And it says, so you can look that up. Halls of Amenti came into my mind. I do not know why, other than there is a thread, an interdimensional connection to the Hall of Records, like the Akashic Records, though from my point of reference, they are similar, yeah, I can read tonight, yet different based on perspectives, beliefs, and time references. And then I put out a message to the Ark. Communication, please. There is so much symbology in the Ark. and all the references to it: the Ark of Moses, Ark of the Covenant, the Ark as in a bridge of light or beam, an ark as in a ship. Our ship is, in our terms, has no name. However, due to humanity always identifying and naming things, the ark was an easy and simple reference in which to identify where we reside at this moment in time in the multidimensionality of the world. And if you guys have any questions, throughout this, you can always send them to me too. Okay? Okay. Okay. No, sorry. I looked up and then I lost my space. Sorry. In the moment of the world. We are here, yet also intersect in several dimensional spaces as we come from another galaxy and time frame, which allows us to travel through time as it is given. Therefore, we can be in more than one place or dimension at once. While we are here helping to accelerate the awakening, we are also helping another civilization transition into 3D consciousness out of 2. The planes are always expanding. In many ways, Earth is in its infant stages, yet it's further along than many other worlds. Here's a little side. The Earth is known as the Blue Pearl in the Galactic Federation, in the Galactic Alliances. We are known as the Blue Pearl because this planet has, it's such a gem. The Earth is such a gemstone. We have to really, really tap into her and thank her for again, I can really talk tonight, her riches, her beauty, her wealth, her support of who we are and all that beings on this planet. The planes are always expanding. In many ways, Earth is in its infant stages, yet it's further along than many other worlds. Our job is to help support the various worlds' expansion process in the eternal world, in the eternal now. You must realize this is just the Ark's mission. Others from our planet and space-time have other duties. We each have our commissions. We are called, like you, to do and follow what inspires us. Now, we think of that as that we are just so alone. I mean, we're so small in our infancies that other planets and planetary systems don't do these callings, but it made sense to me. Here's another movie that you could reference. It's not the same, however, it's just a great analogy. We as humans need symbols and visuals. There was a movie, oh God, it's probably 20 years old now, called Firefly, and it was about a band of renegades in a ship that then went out to, it's kind of a Star Wars side, right? But it was good. There was some humor to it, and they realized that the alliance that they knew they were really the bad guys. But the point is, you have these different ships throughout the galaxies that were out from different areas to help, right? Well, that's how I see this particular, even though these beings are much more higher dimensional, it's like they're in the 6th dimension, and yet they are willing to come here, and they still come from a place of wanting to help and assist. So again, they are their own ship. Okay. Those of us on this mission, this ship, this calling, are all motivated to assist and help other planetary systems evolve and advance in their awakenings. In doing so, it only helps advance our awareness and consciousness and evolving understanding. We learn from humans. We learn from humans who are a hybrid amalgamation of many, many species to come more in contact with our own emotional viewpoints. Though we are highly advanced in many areas, where we still desire more awareness is in the full spectrum of emotions, even the baser ones that humans experience. We, like you, are an ever-evolving consciousness, and many are far more advanced than we are, and others more detained in their progress. In some beam of light in time, we are all knowing and reconnected with source energy. Again, all time is simultaneous, so on a certain level, our progression has already finished. It's already finalized. We are already where we want to be. and yet we will always be evolving. Because imagine this: we evolve back into the ever evolving knowingness of space and God. That'd be kind of boring. It does. We never get to that end point. We are always expanding, because we hit that point, we will evolve to the next level, the next level. So there is no end point. So same for the Arcturians. Okay. In some beam and light and time, we are all knowing and reconnected with source energy, and yet we have eons in another expression in which to get from here to there. So again, eons of time. The ever-evolving circle of expansion. We are here to help awaken through vibrational frequencies many who are yet asleep. Those who have awakened with... Oh God, I'm trying to read some of my own writing here, folks. I need to put this into print. Type it up. Those who have awakened with us now, accelerate more quickly due to these frequencies, with some being emitted with... Okay, I can really read my own writing. Maybe I need to skip that sentence. Due to these frequencies of sound being emitted. I need to put it under the light. We are here on sole purpose, as at one point we were in your reincarnational cycles, much as yourself, meaning that they lived in the earth presence, because the only way that other beings from other planets can literally evolve on this planet and be here is to jump into our bodies in a reincarnational cycle. They choose, when they exit their bodies, to then evolve into a human body so they can experience this expression. So at one time, this particular team has been in the reincarnational cycle. Another reason why they felt very compelled to be here. Your reincarnational cycles, much as yourself. Because of your deep bonding, we have taken on this loving mission to accelerate the process of humanity. We have gained much knowledge and expanded awareness through feeling out your various emotional stories. We have the ability to relate on a cellular level through water and the DNA of your body. In other words, we too were at your human consciousness level at one point in history, so we feel lovingly motivated to invest time of energy into the species known as the Terrans. That's why we are here. On the Ark, we have 800 souls, so each have a specific job that enriches humans' lives. It's up to humanity. What is my story? It's up to humanity whether they accept the gifts and if they can even see them to manifest them in their lives. Nonetheless, we share our gifts unwaveringly and unselfishly to lift up humanity's consciousness. Right now, one of the easiest steps is through vibrational sound. Depending on the areas, the frequencies change due to the overall vibration of the peoples there. So if they're here in Oregon, or if they were in Chicago, they'd need some real heavy-duty ones. To New York and Washington, D.C., ooh, some big ones, right? You see what I'm saying? I'm being a smartass right now. Okay. Depending on the area, the frequencies change due to the overall vibration of the peoples there. If they are more advanced, the pitch is higher. If the consciousness is lower, we have to downplay and emit a lower sound frequency so as to lift up without disrupting their consciousness. In other words, a more gradual process, yet with the same positive end results. You can relate to this, as you too have been on the Ark searching the galaxies for advancing life. You have to understand, even as a child, when we first landed on the moon, I was at a church camp at that point in time. I was over at Camp Magruder at the beach, and I was like one of maybe 2 kids in the whole camp of how many hundreds of kids, and a handful of counselors that went into the huge mess hall to watch the landing on the moon. And I remember at 8 years old or whatever age I was thinking, it's so much more than that. I still remember it like it was just a couple months ago in some ways, that I can remember looking at the TV and being there. I don't remember what I had on, unfortunately, but I usually do. And I could look at it and go, there's so much more to this. This is just such a simple moment. Now, here's one for you. I'm going to segue once again, then I'll get back to this. I don't know if they still have it up on YouTube, because YouTube has pulled off so much stuff. But Stanley Kubrick, right, the Clockwork Orange, and then he did the Eyes Wide Shut. He admitted before he died that he was the brilliant student in college that was pulled in to set up the set for the moon landing. I mean, we did go to the moon. We have a secret space program. We have been on the moon and we've been all over the galaxies. Trust me on this. But at that point in time, to create this image of the space wars, the space race with Russia and China, we set up this in a set. And I remember talking with different ones. I go, did you ever notice that don't you think there would be some kind of atmospheric change? That flag that we had was just stiff. It was because it was set up in a studio. So again, when I saw the moon, my intuition, even as a child, was right. So anyway, sorry, little segue. Okay, for advancing life. This is another reason the translations come so easily for you. You're translating in one level of perception your native tongue into your native tongue as you've spoken English many, many times. Our plan is to stay for as long as we are needed as this crossroads. This juncture is a cosmic intersection and leap in expansion that hasn't been seen in millennia. This is so true. Being here is the most important mission we could be doing at the moment. Our ship is equipped for essentially 500 years in your space-time, so we can sit back, interact with humanity, and share the love, barbecue, and enjoy. Now, of course, barbecue is being funny. That's putting it into English vernacular. But they have this great sense of humor that keeps coming through. So from there, I started asking questions. And this relates to what's happening on the planet, okay? Do you know about the pandemic and when will it be done? Masks, mandates, etc. Now, anytime we get into time, it always gets screwy. So I'm just going to share what I wrote and we'll call it good. I know you're a future base, so have information that is highly prized and valuable here. This is what I got. From our perspective, June of this year will be a huge turning point, though not all of humanity is really able to remove their fear limits yet. Okay? Unbelievable. But again, back to that reptilian mind that has been brainwashed with chemicals and programming. They're still caught in this robotic element. So, however, that will no longer impact you. In the meantime, the next 6 months, it's all about activities. This is important for everybody, okay? Activities, family, friends, creativity, and creating the future you desire. So that's what we talked about before. You know, that tapping into that probability. So really use that visual of the crystalline citrine, right, to focus on the light at the end of the tunnel. Really count on that. So, okay, family, friends, creating the future you desire. Count on June. In the meantime, be patient. And then, let's see, what else do I have in here? That was a personal question. Okay, now and then it's so funny that right before this next question it says, remember, time travel. It's talking about time travel, and time is squishy. Haha, we love to use your language. It is truly delightful. They really have a great sense of humor. So the next question, Trump and the Q team. How soon can we see significant signals and changes? Monday of this next week, info bombs will drop, as well as physical intel and troop moving and resistance from the military and Pentagon, though it won't be hugely visible to others who are brainwashed. So that would be the 31st and the 1st. Much will happen from Monday the 31st. So there it is. Count on it and positive feedback. Keep your eyes open. You'll see the clarity coming forth. Trump will be in office in April in the New Republic. It's in the heavens. The light at this juncture has more pull. It will prevail, and many who have lived in blindness, this is really important, it will prevail, and many who have lived in blindness will be blinded by the light of truth. You might want to pass out sunglasses. Sorry, I think it's so funny. Sorry, I have this perverse sense of humor. There's much that needs to be clear and surface now, from now till then, and even you will be dismayed by some that you did not see as part of the dark. Best thing is to send them forgiveness and love. They're not ready for the light. Trust to know every day is closer to that reality. Your job is, that means your job. That's exactly your job. Your job is to continue to share hard truths. You guys all know I do that and I get just hammered. You'll piss off many. That's okay. They'll be better prepared when those with zero than those with zero exposure. Okay? So that's very important. So that's where you guys all play into this. We talked about healing. Well, I see ships again. And I'm going to share this too. Yes, we are hanging by the mountains. It's easy to conceal and cloak here as well as equalize the mountain's energies with our own. It's very good for our vibrations being so close to these volcanoes. Those extinct in one time frame, they are ever evolving and emptying in another. Their energies are very energizing for our living, I love this, living ship and our physical beings we have put on here. They are loving us as well. It's very symbiotic. Think about that. Their ships are living and they intersperse and interreact and intermingle with their bodies, which I think is so cool. So, anyway, I think that's pretty cool stuff. I think it's really cool. Now, we'll see how much of that comes true because, again, timelines are squishy. We flipped our timeline as of the 21st, and we have two timelines that are happening right now. You've probably heard this. And the key is we're over on, well, I'm going to make it on this one. That's the right one. And in this timeline where it's a bigger frequency, that's the one we focus on what it is that we desire. The bright, positive, happy future, not this nonsense that where we go into the Gesara, the Nisara, which is the national, the Gesara is the global reframing of the financial networks. It's where we actually are working as a globe, where we are literally creating rainbows of light around the planet, of working in co-creative consciousness with the planet. I can take these off. And that we can create this new vision of our future. And that's the timeline that we are on. That's the one that is the brightest, the most valuable. The key, though, is all of us. We may be a small group, but we are an incredibly powerful group. So if you really focus on this, think about this again. I want you to pull this up again. This is very important. The citrine, harmony, meditation. So when you get a chance, even if you take a minute and just deep breathe, that's a form of meditation. You're walking, connecting with the planet. That's meditation. Protection, again, the mat and the gloss, and infinite possibilities. So start thinking about what are the infinite possibilities that you want to create in your life right now. What is it that you want to see happen in your personal life, in your community, in your state, in the nation, in our nations, on our planet. Now, I had a couple questions about this topic beforehand, and so I wrote them down. I know what else I want to talk about, because that relates to the question. Then I got sidetracked because the internet went south, is when I was talking about synchronicities and alignments and portals. That I was going to tap into the 12, because I really think the 12 is very important, that there are 12 portals on this planet, and they relate to the astrological signs. Again, those are all windows into the sky, but they're also a window into our souls, and they're a window into the planet. Now, I don't know if the planet actually has what I would say astrological points of portals, as more of what I would call a psychic portal, but these are doorways into the consciousness of what the different astrological signs mean to us. For example, since we're in Aquarius, I'll use that as an example, as a portal into mine, yours, ours, unity consciousness, forward thinking, scientific thought, working with humanity as a whole instead of individuals. And then we go through each of the different signs. Richard, nice to see you. I love it. Richard's from New Zealand. Love it, love it, love it. You'll have to go back over what we've been talking about. Richard, I just finished up with an entire Arcturian story that was just so cool, so much fun. Okay, so we're talking about portals. Yeah, everybody's Richard. Richard's fabulous. We love having you here. Richard, you're a great energy mix into our whole. You really are. You just add so much. It's fantastic. So right now we're talking about portals and astrological signs as portals. So if we look at these portals on the planet, but also within ourselves, for example, when I work with energies in the body, in all the bodies, the emotional, mental, and physical bodies, and chakras and dimensions, I use the number 12. Now, some people go and they go keep expanding. Well, I'm sure there are 16 and 32 and 152. I don't know dimensions. There probably are. I don't care. 108 degrees. Oh my goodness. Well, and I have snow at my house. Amazing. Don't you love it? The differences is, and I think we even have snow in LA, which is kind of crazy. But the 12 levels. So I go to the 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th chakra. Again, these are portals. So if you tap into that within yourself, that portal within yourself of unity consciousness, and you can use any chakra that you want. You can go to any place within yourself. It's always easy just to go within your heart into unity consciousness and look at that as a portal. So how does that affect us? That's how I think portals affect us and how we can utilize them. And is it possible in a dream to enter? Yes. Okay. As another example, imagine, oh, I have one out on my patio. Somebody made this for me. It's really cute. It's this little arch, and literally a little arc, and it has a little door on it, and you open up the door, and so I have it there as a portal into the fairy realm. So if we imagine a doorway, a lot of times when I do a visualization or a meditation, I look at a doorway, and I open that up. So you can actively create a portal doorway into what you want to learn about, whether it's another lifetime, another extraterrestrial race, whether it's a portal into your own aspect of your emotions and what you want to heal, what you want to accelerate, what level of consciousness, open that door. You can do that. So yes, and we have that opportunity every single day. So sometimes if you can clear literally a space for yourself, literally clear the space and visualize that, open that door, it's amazing what you're going to be able to discover and actualize within the visual that you get. Write it down, use your phone in your notes, whatever works for you, and then keep track of this and just keep expanding. And then, because we have such a united little group, come share your stories, because again, we are a unit of consciousness that have come together for a reason to really make a difference on this planet. Small, again, we talked about this last time, we don't have to be huge. We talked about 12 last time, the 12 apostles. So we can do this. So again, think about this as portals. So doorways into the greater possibility. Okay, let's see. Do they advance us? Yes. How does synchronicity fall into the Galactic Federation in the bigger picture? That is a great question. I think that the Galactic Federation came into being because we have a universe filled, our own particular universe, because there are many universes, and then the galaxies within ours, and then our solar system, because there are so many planets, and there are so many layers of dimensions, and there are a lot of wars, there's a lot of peace, there's a lot of harmony, but there's always expansion going on. So the Galactic Federation had to come together to kind of create an alliance of peace and communication and of what I would say are, I don't want to say rules because that sets it up into a human perspective, but an alliance of integrity, for lack of a better word. So when how do synchronicities align with them is they are coming from a higher vibrational pattern. So when we are tapping into our own synchronicities, we are tapping into what I would call a greater galactic alliance of truth and expansion into who you are, into your soul's expression. We have been on this level. Now, we have chosen, a lot of people have trouble with being on the planet. However, if we change that, flip that out to say we live on a blue pearl, because if you're not living here, where are you going to be living, right? Which planet are you going to go choose? Because not all planets are easier. In fact, some are more rigid. Some have no emotion. Some are all waters. I mean, every possibility is out there. Every movie that have had possibilities are all a possibility. So we have to really look at the reason we have chosen to be here, because it's such a magnificent place. And the more you just dive into that, how beautiful and wonderful it is to be here, and those synchronicities line up, then the Galactic Federation, I feel, is more able to help us as a planet. Because again, we are a free will planet. With free will, anything goes. There are some planets that actually have less free will, and they are what almost would be called a tighter environment. And that tighter environment, it's imagine this. A tighter environment would be one where all your thoughts were available. I mean, literally like a computer screen above you. So all the words you were thinking, everybody could see, including yourself, right? Think about that, what that would do. That would make you go, ugh, okay, I have to be a really good girl, because I can have some pretty dark, funny, I have a dark sense of humor, what can I say? So that would come up and they go, oh my God, she knows what I was just thinking, right? So imagine that. That would be a very tight culture, because we would have little room for error. So in this case, we have free will. We can do all these wonderful, great things. So again, when we tap into that greater consciousness, I feel that the Galactic Federation, because they can't interfere, at least can be more involved, if that makes sense. So that was an interesting question. Now that may or may not be true. That works for me. So now, since I've gone a little over tonight, does anybody, because of the tech, I've had more tech problems. Richard, you weren't here, but my whole thing went sideways. My phone went, my internet went down, and it took a while to grab us back. So does anybody have any questions at all? Not that I see anything, since I'm on this anyway. Catch up soon. I love this snow. Yes, portals sound amazing. And Richard, I would really invite you to go back and listen to the whole thing on the Arcturians. So cool. So, any other questions tonight before I bid you adieu? And thank you guys, each and every one of you. I love you all for being here with me. I really appreciate your presence, your energy, your vibration, who you are, where you are, and what you're doing, because we're all anchors of light literally around the planet, from Canada to New Zealand to across the United States. I love you too. You are wonderful. So thank you all. Any questions? Or otherwise, I'm going to say goodnight. Have a great week. Let's see what happens Sunday, the 31st and onward. I think we're going to have some stuff coming out this week, because whatever happens in the United States impacts the whole world. Oh, thank you. I appreciate the happy birthday wishes too. It just does, because when we reach for freedom in the United States, that means the whole world will be free. And that's what we need to keep in our consciousness. I think this is really so vital, freedom. So with that, I'm going to send you off on a great evening. I love you, and I will see you next week. Have a super week. Enjoy. Think about your creativity. Think, what kind of possibilities? What do you want to dream and envision for yourself and the world and your family? So with that, think about it. Love you. Night.